Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, Ophiuchus, let's go ahead and take a look, and we're going to see kind of what's growing, what's green, what's expanding for the second half of the year. I mean, I know technically we're already into the second half of the year, but we're about to enter into July, and to me, I don't know, that's where I kind of think that next 5 months of the year are our second half. So with that in mind, I was in the mood for green and flowers and everything. I just want to look at things that are like changing, progressing, growing. We start with a 7 of Wands here. 7 of Wands is going to be obstacles. Now, this can be how we overcome obstacles. And you can see this person is like ready to, give like a martial arts, well placed, well defined kick. Somebody could have been working on their physique. Hey, Nora, great to see you, love. But we may have a character who's really been, like Ophiuchus has really been honing their personal empowerment, their skills to like knock down obstacles in front of their that's blocking their way. Even if it's blockages at Ophiuchus themselves, sometimes we get onto that loop of saying negative things to ourselves. Ophiuchus might be like, nope, I don't let my mind go down that road anymore. I redirect. Nope, I do not let myself get caught up in something negative, or no, I'm not going to let every time I hit a roadblock become something that I allow to be my roadblock. Instead, look at this, we got another 7. Instead, I think about alternate routes. Okay, so Ophiuchus is a master problem solver in the second half of the year. To be this dynamic probably means we're dealing with a very intelligent person who finds themselves in complicated scenarios because they're really smart. They don't look for a simple life. I feel like this Ophiuchus is like always ready for the challenge. They're totally comfortable being in situations that would possibly make other people's toes curl. And instead, Ophiuchus is like, yeah, I kind of like the challenge. I do. I can't help it. I find myself gravitating toward challenges. I find myself going directions that I can stretch, that I can grow, that will at least be interesting. I don't even think that Ophiuchus like gets too stressed out. Look at this. Hierophant is upright. If anything, Nora, love you so much. Thank you, love. If anything, with this Hierophant, Taurus energy, I feel like Ophiuchus is so dialed in. They're like, I know what I know. I love to be in situations where I get to ask my higher self to guide me. It strengthens my intuition. It strengthens, every time I'm faced with a whole bunch of different decisions to make, a whole bunch of different obstacles. That's where I connect to my higher self, and that's where I find the right answer. And I kind of, it gives me thrills and chills. This feels amazing. If Ophiuchus is going to be on the cusp of making possibly a particular, like bigger life decision, though, in the next half of the year, it could be something where their spiritual self will have to answer and help them decide. And I mean, we could argue almost every decision in life has some spiritual component. I mean, maybe not like, should I take another sip of my cup of coffee or not? That's probably not a very life altering spiritual decision, maybe. But let's say it's about, do I move in with a roommate or not? Let me really ask my higher self, do I genuinely think this would be the right path for me? Or do I hold out? Do I reconsider? Do I instead consider living with family instead of with a stranger? Which would be the better route? That would be something that maybe we have to ask inside of our hearts. Why would I choose this path instead of that? What's my motive? What's really in my greatest and highest good? I could see that being a bigger life decision, for example. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's probably going to be something bigger. Ooh, judgment. Okay, this could be that Ophiuchus is going to be in the place to decide if they allow someone back into their life, if they reconcile with someone. Obviously, is a very important person. And I say that because this person's face dominates the night sky. Now, this could be that Ophiuchus is the one who is very much on someone's mind, and this person could really, really want to reconcile with Ophiuchus. And even then, no matter how bad somebody else wants us in their life, does not mean that we are under an obligation to say yes. We have to make sure that we want to say yes. At least I think. I don't think just because somebody else wants your time and energy, they get access to it. I don't think just because they want to make nice and fix stuff, we have to say yes. I personally am not a very good person. I am kind of a rude person who thinks if you trespass on me, just because you want to clear your conscience and have me be okay with you again, does not mean I'm under the obligation to say yes to you. Doesn't mean I hold or harbor hard feelings. I just don't feel like I have to make you comfortable. If you did something to get yourself booted out of my world, that's your problem. You might just have to tough it out and be like, well, okay, won't let me back. That I'm not a very nice person though. I have like boundaries, and I don't think it's the end of the world to have a boundary and not want to like give somebody access back to us, because there are things that you don't want. You don't want people to get access back to you, even if they just want to clear their own conscience. That's not our problem. We aren't under the obligation to make sure that they can feel good later on if they're the ones who did the trespass in the first place. That's just me saying I can just move on. I don't feel the need to look back. But that doesn't mean that that's a good way to be. So bear in mind, flawed person. Aries is like, my mom's kind of a jerk sometimes. No, with this, maybe he's agreeing. I have no idea. My dog has good boundaries too. But with this storyline, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make light of something, but I am saying because this is a big decision and a spiritual decision at that, I'm picturing that it could be one of those scenarios where does Ophiuchus want to welcome somebody back in? They have every right to say yes. They have every right to say no. It's whatever they ask their higher self. Does I want to do this, self? We have the Justice card. Okay, so this is about somebody who might have wronged Ophiuchus. Maybe that's why I was all mouthy there for a second. And obviously Aries is heavily having his input. Baby dog. Sometimes if I give him I don't really know how to whistle. I can only do the low. Yeah, you did good. Come here, puppy. That's my boy. That's my good one. You did such good protecting. Come here. Come on up. Let's celebrate. Yeah, you sang to everybody. Yeah, good job. He's exhausted. Sorry, but if you have to hear his loud singing, that I think you should at least get the cuteness of him as the trade-off. We have the Empress here. I do think that this is Ophiuchus maybe stepping into their personal power and saying, look, something can be wrong. Somebody can have done me wrong, and I can acknowledge that, and I can forgive them for it and still keep up my boundaries. Or I can say I can forgive them, but I still acknowledge what was done wrong, but I can also still love them in spite of it. I can see why this would not be the easiest thing in the world to figure out what the right course of action is, even if the emotions, because I don't feel like Ophiuchus is holding or harboring hard feelings. But, being emotionally okay and even wishing somebody well and still not wanting them back in our life, that can also be true. So what does Ophiuchus actually do? Well, they're trying to figure this out in the second half of the year. I think Ophiuchus is going to be very well equipped to decide, because they're going to listen to their higher self. And Ophiuchus does not shy away from the truth, is what I would say. I don't even know if I want to ask what is Ophiuchus going to do, because it looks like this is kind of a dynamic thing for them. It feels like they're still in process. Okay, so what's interesting is this deck has actually 2 Empresses in it, and we just got them both with the 4 of Swords. You know what I would have to say? I think that this is the message where Ophiuchus is maybe saying, I am a big enough person that if I know it would not cost me anything to give somebody the whatever they may need that will allow them to have peace. If they feel awful that they did me dirty and they really want forgiveness, and I ask myself, does it cost me anything to let them know it's all right? I get it. You need to heal. And if my giving you some kind of forgiveness and even well wishes will help you to heal, and it is no skin off my back, why don't I just give that to them? I wish you well. You don't have to feel bad about this anymore. You do have to heal yourself. I do hope that you don't do what you did to me to anybody else. I'm not mad at you anymore, and I do wish you well. I could see Ophiuchus landing on that with a double dose of Empress energy. And with the healing energy in the middle. Look, the Empress energy is mama energy, and mamas are really good at unconditional love, tough love too. Like they'll say, "Oh, I love you, but you got in big trouble, and you got to handle the repercussions." You know, you can't go breaking rules. I love you, but I'll call the cops on you myself if you're going to be an unruly 15-year-old who's going to do, things that could get you into way bigger trouble once you're an adult. You need to learn the repercussions now. You don't go joyriding in somebody's car. Like, you can't get away with stuff like that. That's not me being a good parent to you, letting you do stuff that's not right. But it does not mean that I do not love you more than anything. And I feel like that's the energy off of this. I'm just using that as an example. Real love is also true. And I feel like it's deeply compassionate. But if this is what Ophiuchus is going to be able to exercise, here's the thing: it really doesn't cost them anything. This isn't a painful experience for them. In fact, if anything, I think Ophiuchus comes across like, oh my God, that became so clear. I figured out what the right decision was. I figured out how to handle this. I figured out how to wish somebody well, to love them and still have boundaries. I figured out how I walk away feeling like I know I did right here. I did the right thing. Whatever it is for Ophiuchus. And this is not to say that the right thing is for Ophiuchus to give this person, a pass or anything like that. But Ophiuchus will figure out what the right thing is. It'll allow everyone to move forward without bitterness, whatever that means. This is huge. There were so many major arcanas in this. I do not feel like this was a tiny trespass. I feel like this could have been a big, big thing. This could be somebody who stole stuff from Ophiuchus, maybe stole their heart, maybe stole their money, maybe both. But I mean, come on, we got big cards. By the way, strong Scorpio, strong Taurus, strong Libra Taurus, coming in with a double dose of that. So we quadruple that energy. I don't know. Everything here just says Ophiuchus will find the right answer that soothes their own soul to a massive trespass that occurred in their life. Four of Swords, and it makes them feel better and lighter and healed. They might also be kind of unwittingly helping the other person to genuinely heal. And then Ophiuchus, I think, because this is them listening to the rest of the messages from the universe coming in, I feel like Ophiuchus is going to kind of close out a massive chapter of their life. Yeah, there's no more work to be done on this. That's it. Mission accomplished. This could have been something where, I don't know, if Ophiuchus was dealing with somebody who had a lot of blockages, and the wrong that they did Ophiuchus was a massive blockage, because Ganesh is remover of obstacles. And we have this spiritual teacher trying to help this young person ascend. And I almost feel like that's maybe the analogy for whomever did Ophiuchus wrong at some point in time. And I feel like unless they could maybe try to approach Ophiuchus and ask for some kind of forgiveness, or receive some kind of, whether it's forgiveness or penalty or whatever from Ophiuchus, that was a major stumbling block to them being able to move forward. It's basically, we're clearing out karma. That's the way I would look at this. I think Ophiuchus is clearing out karma. And I think it's like Ophiuchus is recognizing this was the best thing I could have done for me as well as for them. Ace of Wands now, full steam ahead. It's sexy time now. I think Ophiuchus is ready to have some fun after this. We got a Prince of Wands that can admittedly be, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I feel like there's passion. I feel like there's love. If Ophiuchus's life is about to get more exciting, it does not mean they're going to have a one-night stand or that they're going to meet a player. But it does say Ophiuchus is like, wow, this was freaking fabulous for me too. I laid down something. There's no more work to do on this. I can let that whole thing go. Now, bring me the good stuff. I want to have some fun now. I want, this is almost, it feels celebratory. It feels like I could meet somebody new. I could love somebody new. I could have a good time again. Six of Wands. And Ophiuchus feels really like they made the right choice I kind of do think it's about clearing the karma by closing a chapter nicely, gracefully, in the greatest and highest way that somebody could close a chapter. And now Ophiuchus feels really empowered and really good about themselves and really ready for where the party at? Like, I feel light for the first time in a long time. Nora A, thank you, Angel. You're so generous. Thank you, love. We do have a King of Swords in the reverse. What's that all about? That's King of Swords in the reverse that's not great. Three of Cups sideways. Oh, it's just, okay. So here's the thing. When we have any character who's ready to like interact and they're full of passion and excitement, obviously Ophiuchus is just possibly going to be closing out one chapter in the next 5 months and ready for the next chapter. There could be somebody else who has their own karmic behavior that will come in and kind of test whether or not Ophiuchus wants to sign up for another karmic go round. I do not see Ophiuchus saying yes to this. Three of Cups sideways is like, oh, I'm not willing to deal with somebody else who has their own. Look, Ophiuchus is not just here to be everybody's teacher. I don't think. I know sometimes we do sign up to help people clear their karma, but I think Ophiuchus, although they're certainly capable of helping more people clear karma, I don't know that Ophiuchus wants to engage with anyone else. This is like, let me think about this. You're coming in, you're probably attracted to me, but you want me on your terms. King of Swords can be ice cold and unfair. They still want what they want. They're obviously attracted to Ophiuchus. They're approaching Ophiuchus for a reason. With that Three of Cups, those folk are naked on that card. So we know that there's good. Okay, I was going to say we know that they would love a chance with Ophiuchus, but this is nice. I think Ophiuchus is like, no. I just helped somebody clear their karma. I just helped the soulmate like break a pattern. I give him the forgiveness. I did the whole thing. I'm a double dose of Empress. Now I'm here to find something that I want. So no, I don't want to deal with anybody else's karma. I want somebody who's cleared their own stuff and can match me now. King of Pentacles. So we have choices. That Three of Cups indicates oftentimes more than one person. And sure enough, we got a choice between two. Granted, Ophiuchus will have to be careful in assessing who's the new karmic that wants in versus who's somebody who's really got something to offer. Can we see anything about like advice or signs and symbols of how Ophiuchus will recognize who is who? We've got the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. We got the Two of Swords, and we got the Empress again. Okay, so this is Cleopatra. I mean, Cleo is like 1 in a billion, right? And Cleo and Mark Antony, right? Those are the two names that we associate together as that great love story. I kind of feel like the message here is not only does Ophiuchus still have to make a good decision for themselves, who do they want to love, but in this case, if they're going to have to break down and say, which of these two new people I'll be meeting in this next chapter, in the next 5 months, how do I know who is who? There could be just enough of a delay. The King of Swords might show their true colors almost immediately and being indecisive. This could be somebody who can't quite lock down a date with Ophiuchus. This could be somebody where it's like, well, I'd like to deal with Ophiuchus, but maybe I'll keep him waiting. Or there will be some kind of, an accidental delay or something where the universe might actually help delay this in addition to them procrastinating. And I feel like that's a great opportunity for Ophiuchus to be like, thank you, universe. Once again, you're telling me to ask myself, what is it that I would like to put my attention toward? Well, probably not something that just doesn't feel like the time is right with this person, or it feels like they're procrastinating. Let me just go ahead and open up my heart to somebody else other than this King of Swords. And I feel like that's what opens the opportunity for the King of Pentacles to show up. So Ophiuchus might be a little bit tested in the next chapter of life to be like, are you up for another karmic? We're going to show you the karmic pattern. We're going to show you that this could delay. We're going to show you that they might procrastinate. Do you want to deal with them? Yes or no? And I think Ophiuchus is like, no, I'm an Empress now. I really would love to have somebody that matches me in readiness. So if there's someone else, please, and thank you, universe, please send the next one on in. I think that Ophiuchus needed to just be able to say, thank you, that's a hard pass. And the universe is like, perfect. Amen to that. We can send you somebody else who's much more prepared, much more ready. All of this looked like with the triple Empress coming into this storyline. It doesn't matter if Ophiuchus is masculine or feminine, of course, but that energy is still the same. It says the big message for Ophiuchus in this next half of 2025 is, am I operating as an empress? An empress looks out for their own empire. Um, Not like, ooh, it's me and only me, I'm number one, let me get mine first. But an empress says, I'm as valuable as anyone. I don't expect to have to carry other people's unhealed traumas and burdens. However, I'm compassionate, and I know sometimes people don't know they're carrying that and they make mistakes, and I can forgive them for it, even if I also usher them along in life. But I give them, my grace and tell them I hope they continue on their journey and heal. But it also doesn't mean that I'm asking more people to bring me their unhealed stuff. Like, no, I'm not just here to feed and water you and let you make a mess of things and then say, oh, I forgive you. Okay, who's next? Who else wants to come and trample in my kingdom and deplete my resources? And then I give you forgiveness and you move on. Like, I'm not about to sign up for a routine like that. An empress isn't gonna. They have a good, again, mother energy where it's like, I know how to give tough love, and I also know how to give actual love, and I know when to put up a boundary. So I think that's the biggest message for this next half of the year. And I think we can see that does, at least in this story, gives Ophiuchus like a really great outcome because they're being fair and kind at the same time. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. So great to see everybody. Thank you again, Nor A. Sarah J, Rachel's Magic. Ken Ramey, how are you, hun? Hey, Patricia. Rachel's Magic, thank you. Yes, Aries is here agreeing some more with his little face on my hip. Hi, baby. All right, you guys, the light. Wonderful to see you, sweetheart. So I will see you guys. I'm going to release the Scorpio video right now, and I still just need to get Gemini out, and then I'll probably, well, I have to leave at 6, and I probably won't be back until way late tonight. Because I got to go check on my family. They're all sick now. So I was sick last week for a week, and this week my family is sick and they live quite a distance from me. So I've been cooking food and doing shopping and taking them over to the doctor. And so anyway, I wasn't around yesterday after all. I knew it would be a busy day, but it was busier than expected. And now this evening I'm going back over. So I will be back really late tonight, probably, but I don't know. It depends on how it goes. Anyway, I won't be leaving until about 6, but I got to attend to the baby for right now. But I'll see you guys again later. Thanks, you guys. Lots of love. Wonder Tea. So good to see you. All right. Bye, guys.